during the opening session of this sitting, the council began by raising two preliminary objections. And among the resolution is that the Senate resolves to uphold the preliminary issue raised on whether the County Assembly of Isiolo held sittings on the 18th day of June 2025 and 26th day of June 2025 to table, debate, pass, and or vote on a motion for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the governor for Isiolo County, and accordingly terminates the proceedings of the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Hassan, the governor for Isiolo. So in the event the Senate votes to okay the motion, or to adopt the motion rather, this matter will be resting at that particular point. But in the event that this motion is defeated or negated, being the fact that the Senate does not agree with the appeal by the council and its presentation before the House, then the Senate moves on to consider the impeachment charges leveled against the governor. The other substantive motion before the Senate this afternoon is a preliminary issue on whether court orders on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Hassan Ibrahim, the governor for Isiolo County, were ignored. There has been a number of clarifications raising from senators. Among them is whether the County Assembly of Isiolo proceeded with the impeachment for the governor despite there being a court order that barred that process to be commenced on, and a decision to be arrived upon. In the motion by the Senate leader of the majority party, Senator Cheriot notes that noting the preliminary issue was raised by the governor of Isiolo on whether, in light of the court order, the Senate is able to proceed with the hearing on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the governor for Isiolo. Now, therefore, the Senate resolves to uphold the preliminary issue raised on whether, in light of court orders, the Senate is able to proceed with the hearing on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the governor for Isiolo, and accordingly terminate the proceedings for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Governor Guyo. So this motion will be seeking to have the Senate vote on whether the Senate is able to proceed with the hearing of this matter, bearing in mind that the documents before it, among the issues presented by the Defense Counsel representing the governor, is on the issue of court orders on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the governor. The governor alleges that the County Assembly of Isiolo contravened court orders that he had obtained from Meru law courts seeking to bar the assembly from proceeding with the impeachment. So we are waiting to see how these two matters will be voted on this afternoon, and the outcome of the vote will be guiding the House on possible continuation of these proceedings. And in the event the Senate do agree with the governor on a number of issues, being two main preliminary objections that have been raised today, then the governor will have been saved from an impeachment or the upholding of that impeachment by the Senate. In the event the senators do agree that indeed the county assembly for Isiolo County did not follow the requisite procedures in conduction of that motion of the impeachment for the governor, the county assembly still has an opportunity to table another motion once they go back to the county assembly and impeach the governor if they do so wish. But in the event that the counsel for the governor loses, the House will be proceeding with the hearing of the matter before the House this afternoon, where the governor for Isiolo County is expected to defend himself before the Senate beginning this afternoon officially, as the House will have dispensed with the matter on the vote on the two motions. Before it, the governor is facing a number of charges before the Senate that the members of the County Assembly of Isiolo relied upon in impeaching the governor. Among the charges is the gross violation of the Constitution and other laws. The other aspect is that the governor has from time to time failed to address the county assembly as enshrined in the Constitution, being the issue of governor's address, that he is required to do a state of the county address at the Isiolo County Assembly. The gross violation of the Constitution and other laws is charge number one. The other charge, or ground number two for impeachment, is the abuse of office, and finally gross misconduct under charge number three in this matter, where the governor is facing allegations of making disrespectful and demeaning statements and remarks against the area senator Fatma Dulo, and thereby undermining the confidence of the public he holds. The governor is also accused of breaching public trust by making divisive and derogatory as well as discriminatory remarks against clans that are residing in the county of Isiolo. He's also facing allegations of being continuously absent from the county and running the affairs of the county of Isiolo remotely from Nairobi. And according to the members of the county assembly, who in their numbers supported the impeachment, the move has been stalling service delivery in the county. And dear viewers, like I began by telling you, we have a supplementary order paper this afternoon, where after the council for the governor and the council for the county assembly made their presentation before the Senate this afternoon, seeking to convince the Senate as to why the House should abandon this motion at this particular juncture, and the county assembly council seeking to uphold their case and saying that evidence and witnesses will be appearing before the bar to give more evidence in regards to the issues that were raised by senators. On matters clarification, the county assembly is seeking to debunk the claim that there was no assembly sittings on the 18th and subsequently on the 26th day of June. The other issue is they allege the clerk had been abducted. That issue of the clerk is one of the issues that senators sought clarification on who is indeed the Speaker of the County Assembly of Isiolo, bearing in mind that each side clashed on this particular issue before the Senate this afternoon. On your screens, you can see the senators in the chamber this afternoon ready to proceed with the business. And we expect the Speaker of the Senate at any moment from now. He'll be making his way back into the chamber this afternoon to allow for the House to commence with the consideration of the motions before it this afternoon, being a number of motions, 2 of them in number. And among the matters that the Senate is required to determine this afternoon is whether the County Assembly of Isiolo, for Isiolo, indeed held sittings on the 18th and the 26th day of June 2025. The issue of Hansard has featured heavily during these proceedings, with members seeking to understand whether there is any supporting documents or material that indeed shows that the House conducted the sittings. The team representing the county assemblies told senators this afternoon that there was some fracas in the county assembly, and owing to that issue, the Hansard was destroyed. But they also said that they have the Hansard in audio, and if need be, or when need arises, that material will be tabled before the Senate to indeed show that the House, this being the County Assembly of Isiolo, did indeed hold the sittings that led to the impeachment of the governor for Isiolo by 16 out of 18 members of the County Assembly. The defense team, both for the governor and the members of the County Assembly, are already in the chambers this afternoon, equally ready to see how the House will be voting in regards to this particular motion that will either send members of the County Assembly to the drawing board if they still want to have the governor for Isiolo impeached. The other outcome is that the Senate will proceed with the hearing of the matter before it, being the requirement as per the Constitution for the House to hear and determine the charges on impeachment facing the governor for Isiolo County, Governor Ibrahim Hassan. It is a matter that has taken time for the better part of today, with both teams seeking to convince the Senate why this matter ought to end at this particular juncture. That is the side of the governor, but the council or the legal team representing the members of the County Assembly are seeking to have the Senate throw out any appeals by the defense counsel representing the governor that the Senate ought to quash the matter at this particular point. So after the House votes on the two motions, and in the event the House votes to continue with the hearing of this matter, the members of the County Assembly will commence with their tabling of evidence and materials before it, or by it, seeking to have the Senate consider and uphold their decision. The members of the County Assembly have already forwarded before the Senate a number of documents as well as flash disks and videos containing the evidence they'll be relying upon in this case in a bid to, so to speak, have the Senate uphold the impeachment before the County Assembly. Earlier today, we had the members of the County Assembly who sought to convince the Senate to continue with this hearing, saying that in the event the governor is impeached, there's still some more room for the governor to fight his way to remain in office, that is through the courts. And they were technically appealing to the Senate, informing senators that the matters of impeachment is time-bound. As for a period not exceeding 10 days, the Senate, upon the receiving of the resolution from a County Assembly on matters impeachment, that process must be held and a determination must be arrived at in days not exceeding 10 days. The governor for Isiolo County is said to have grossly violated Section 30, subsection 2K of the County Governments Act by failing to deliver the annual State of County address for the last 3 years that he has been in office. Governor Guyo is also accused by the County Assembly of grossly violating Articles 210, 201, subsection D and E of the Constitution by employing a bloated workforce, including 36 advisors in the office of the governor, 31 chief officers, yet the County Assembly has only 6 departments, 2 deputy county secretaries' positions, which are not known in law. According to the members of the County Assembly of Isiolo, there has been an excessive wage bill, that is 46% annual revenue allocation, far beyond the 35% limit set by Section 25, subsection 1A and B of the Public Finance Management of the County Government's Regulations of the year 2015. These are some of the issues listed on charge number 1 on gross violation of the Constitution, on charge number 2 on the abuse of office. The governor is facing the allegation of appointing 36 advisors in the office of the governor. This is in contravention to the Salaries and Remuneration Commission SRC circular for the year 2013 and the Transition Authority circular dated 6th of September 2013 and subsequent guidelines on, or these guidelines are from the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee, and the SRC and the guidelines from the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee limit the maximum number of advisors to 3. The other issue is the appointment of 31 chief officers instead of 18, which have been provided for by the County Executive Staff Establishment of 2022, yet the County Assembly has only 6 departments. The appointment of chief officers under 2-year contracts, and thus creating a climate of fear and reducing public servants to serve as servants of governors and not the people, is another matter facing the county governor for Isiolo County. The appointment of 2 deputy county secretaries, positions which are not provided for in law and not in the county staff establishment, is another matter that the governor for Isiolo and his council will be seeking to debunk during these sittings of the Senate. The Senate has gazetted 3 days, the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th day of July as the days in which the Senate will be hearing and determining the issues facing the governor for Isiolo County. The Senate votes to the governor. In that particular point, what happens is that senators will be voting on each and every charge, being 3 charges: gross violation of the Constitution, gross misconduct, and abuse of office. The House requires the support of at least 25 senators per charge for any charge to have been considered to be substantiated. So in the event the 3 charges, none of them attains the support of 25 senators, the governor for Isiolo County will have considered to have been saved, or the matters before the House will not have been substantiated. And so the members of the County Assembly indeed have their work cut out to convince senators as to why they ought to agree with the County Assembly for the Isiolo County. The other outcome is that if either of the 3 charges facing the governor, if one of them is substantiated, that outcome is determined by a vote where 25 senators are required to have voted in support of the charge before the House. Either of the charge is enough to take the governor home. And so equally, the council for the governor will be seeking to have the Senate quash that decision by showing that the grounds for Governor Guyo have not been substantiated. But that outcome is pegged on the motions before the Senate this afternoon, where the House is set to vote on the 2 motions on whether the County Assembly held sittings on the 18th and the 9th, the 18th and the 26th day of June 2025, on matters removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim, the governor for Isiolo. This is that whereas, pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution and Section 33 of the County Governments Act, on Thursday, the 26th day of June, the County Assembly of Isiolo approved a motion for the removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, and whereas via letter number 001, this is CA/ERS volume 1 001, dated 26th day of June 2025, and received in the office of the Speaker of the Senate on the 27th day of June 2025. The Speaker of the County Assembly of Isiolo informed the Speaker of the Senate of the approval of a motion by the County Assembly, and further forwarded to the Speaker of the Senate documents in evidence of the proceedings of the Assembly, including the list of the 16 members of the County Assembly that voted in favor of the removal from office by impeachment of the governor, noting that there has been preliminary issue raised by the governor for Isiolo on whether the County Assembly of Isiolo held its sitting on the said day of the 18th day of June and 26th day of June to table, debate, pass, and or vote on the motion for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the governor for Isiolo. Now, therefore, the Senate do resolve to uphold the preliminary issue raised on whether the County Assembly of Isiolo held the sittings on that said day, to table debates and vote for the motion to remove Governor Guyo from office, and accordingly terminate the proceedings of the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the governor in question, governor for Isiolo County. So this motion is coming up for a vote by senators this afternoon. The other motion is a preliminary issue on the court orders on the proposed removal by impeachment of the governor. The Senate leader of the majority party states in this second motion that whereas pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33 of the County Governments Act, on Thursday, the 26th day of June, the County Assembly of Isiolo approved a motion seeking to remove the governor from office by impeachment, and whereas via letter dated 26th day of June, received in the office of the Speaker of the Senate on the 27th, the County Assembly equally informed the Speaker of the Senate of the approval of the motion to impeach the governor, and further are forwarded to the Speaker of the Senate documents again of the 18 members of the County Assembly, and noting that preliminary issue was raised by the governor for Isiolo on whether, in light of the court orders, the Senate is able to proceed with the hearing on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the governor for Isiolo. The Senate resolves to uphold the preliminary issue raised on whether, in light of the court orders, the Senate is able to proceed with the hearing on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the governor for Isiolo, and accordingly terminates the proceedings for the proposed removal from office by impeachment. So in the event senators vote that indeed the House should proceed with the hearing and determination of this matter, and under motion number 1, that the Senate votes that indeed the County Assembly for Isiolo did hold sittings on the 18th and the 26th on the 18th day of June, and subsequently on the 26th day of June, the House moves to consider the matter where the hearing and the determination of the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Hassan, the governor for Isiolo, will be read as order number 4 in the order paper this afternoon, where the House will officially be commencing the hearing of this matter. It is a hearing that has been given 3 days for the House to listen to both sides, consider evidence adduced before the House, and make an informed decision on the 10th. The members of the County Assembly will be kicking off this hearing and determination proceedings by adducing evidence before the Senate, seeking to convince the House as to why what they did is what was best for the county of Isiolo. They have been allocated a total of 5 hours for this. This evidence will also be subjected to cross-examination with the members of the legal team representing the governor, seeking to have the Senate not really consider the evidence presented by members of the County Assembly as some of the grounds or enough charges to warrant an impeachment, members of the County Assembly have a total of 3 hours to present their case before the House. That will be commencing immediately after the two motions have been negated, if that ends up being the fate of the impeachments or the two motions before the House. The governor's team has a maximum of 2 hours for cross-examination. This is a time that the defense team will be banking on to water down the evidence by the County Assembly. It is a sitting expected to last for the better part of this evening, and a few hours into the night. After the evidence by the County Assembly, evidence of witnesses and cross-examination, the Speaker will be guiding the House on matters, questions, and requests for clarifications by senators. We await to see how that pans out this afternoon, as the two motions before the House are critical in determining whether the House proceeds with the hearing of the matter before it. The reason as to why we have arrived at these two motions is two main preliminary objections that were raised by the Defense Counsel, this being the team representing the governor. And some of the issues they raised before the House is that there was no valid or competent motion for the removal by way of impeachment of the governor for Isiolo that was passed from a resolution by the County Assembly of Isiolo. They are relying on High Court order in Isiolo via petition number 004 of 2025 by the governor versus the County Assembly and two others that invalidated the proceedings of the County Assembly on the 26th day of June 2025, giving rise to an impunged impeachment, and further that the court proceedings declared the resolution to impeach the governor as null and void, and that there was no legal consequences. The defense team also alleges that in the instance for the County Assembly on the 18th and the 29th, the House did not sit to pass, debate, and pause and vote on the motion for the governor to be removed from office. According to the council, is that there is clear stipulation in law that impeachment proceedings can only be commenced or sustained before the Senate upon the passage of a valid resolution by the County Assembly. And this is in compliance with the procedures laid out in the law governing the removal of the governor from office. And the defense says that the County Assembly did not sit on the 18th and on the 26th day of June. The defense also told senators this morning that the purported Hansard reports of the 18th day of June and subsequently the Hansard report for the 26th day of June that the members of the County Assembly and their council have relied upon to furnish the Senate are forged, that the Hansard has been concocted, that the Hansard has been manufactured and engineered in a venue outside the County Assembly chambers. Remember, unless there is a gazette notice permitting the County Assembly to sit outside the Assembly, any decisions made outside the County Assembly are considered to have been null and void. We are waiting to see how this will be proceeding. The members of the defense team have also told senators that there exists no vote, no proceedings, voice transcripts of video recordings that corroborate the bogus Hansard reports, as they called them, and invited the Senate to conduct a preliminary inquiry by the way of trial with a view of establishing the authenticity of the Hansard reports presented by the County Assembly in support of the impeachment proceedings. In regard to this matter on Hansard, the members of the County Assembly, through their lawyers, told senators that at some point the County Assembly of Isiolo was marred with chaos, and following that incident, the Hansard was destroyed. But in seeking to have the Senate uphold their decision and convince the House that indeed they have a watertight case or charges before the governor, the lawyers representing members of the County Assembly say they have Hansard proceedings in audio, and that may be presented before the House when need arises. The defense, this being their first battle before the Senate, which is to seek to have the impeachment halted at this particular point or defeated at this juncture, the legal team representing the governor purported that the impeachment motion, as presented by the County Assembly of Isiolo, is failing or has failed to meet the criteria and the legal threshold. This criteria and legal threshold is stipulated in Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33 of the County Government Act, the standing orders of Isiolo County Assembly, and the standing orders of the Senate. The defense team have therefore termed the motion for impeachment that was forwarded to the Senate as null and void and of no legal consequence to warrant admissibility, interrogation, or any further action of the Senate, and hence should be struck out in limine. These four areas that the defense team invited the Senate to interrogate keenly and determine whether the House will be proceeding with the hearing and the determination of this matter, are forming the basis for the two motion that saw the House adjourn its sitting for 30 minutes to allow for the preparation of the supplementary order paper, where immediately the Speaker makes his way back into the chamber this afternoon. The House will proceed to consider the two motions before it and vote on whether the preliminary objections raised by the Governor are indeed weighty.
Honorable Senators, welcome back. Clerk, proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, communication from the Chair.
Now, Honorable Senators, following the communication, following the commencement of the process of the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan as Governor of Isiolo County, the firm of Theory Wasonga, the advocates representing the Governor, raised in writing, pursuant to Rule 14 of the third schedule of the Rules of Procedure for hearing and determination of the proposed removal from office by impeachment of a Governor, a preliminary objection. In particular, the advocate stated as follows: A, that there was no valid or competent motion for removal by way of impeachment of the Governor of Isiolo County that was passed by a resolution of the County Assembly of Isiolo for the following reasons. 1, on 27th of June 2025 and 2nd of July 2025, the High Court of Isiolo vied Isiolo High Court Constitutional Petition number E004 of 2025, Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan versus County Assembly of Isiolo and two others, invalidated the proceedings of the County Assembly of 26 June 2025, giving rise to the impunged impeachment, and further declared the resolutions to impeach the Governor as null and void and of no legal consequence. In particular, the Governor's advocates drew the attention of the Senate to paragraphs 45 and 46 of the Court's ruling, which stated as follows, and I quote, "Therefore, it is the finding of this Court that the motion dated 18th of June 2025 and debated by the first respondent on 26th of June 2025 was in contravention of the conservatory orders of this Court issued on the 25th of June 2025. Hence, the resolution arising therefrom is null and void. Once an act is declared null and void, it is of no legal consequence." 2, as stated, the resolution has evidently been submitted to the Speaker of the Senate. It is thus upon the Senate once informed of the orders herein, to determine if it will proceed to handle the said resolution, thus abating a blatant disregard of the rule of law or respect the court orders. 3. The law contemplates that impeachment proceedings can only be commenced and or sustained before the Senate upon the passage of a valid resolution by the County Assembly in compliance with the procedure laid down in the law governing the removal of governor from office. However, in this instance, the County Assembly of Isiolo did not sit on the 18th of June 2025 and 26th of June 2025 to table, debate, pass or vote on a motion for removal of the governor from office by way of impeachment. That the purported Hansard reports of 18th June and 26th of June 2025 relied upon and furnished to the Senate by the County Assembly were forged, concocted, manufactured and engineered at a venue outside the County Assembly chambers, and further that there exist no votes and proceedings, voice transcripts, and video recordings to corroborate the Hansard reports. Council invited the Senate to conduct a preliminary inquiry by way of trial within a trial in limine, with a view to establishing the authenticity of the Hansard reports presented by the County Assembly in support of the impeachment proceedings. That the purported impeachment motion, as presented by the County Assembly of Isiolo, fails to meet the criteria and legal threshold under Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33 of the County Governments Act, and standing orders of the Isiolo County Assembly and the standing orders of the Senate. That the impeachment motion forwarded by the County Assembly of Isiolo is a sham, null and void, and of no legal consequence to warrant admissibility, interrogation, or any other action of the Senate. Hence, the same should be struck out in limine. In response to the preliminary objection raised by the advocate for the governor, the firm of Alex and Boniface Advocates LLP, advocates for the County Assembly of Isiolo, stated in writing the following. A, that the preliminary objection raised by the governor do not meet the threshold of a pure point of law as established by the time-honored case of Mukisa Biscuit Manufacturing Company Limited versus West End Its Distributors, 1969 EA 696. B, that with regard to the first preliminary objection, the question of court orders that seek to prevent the Senate from fulfilling its constitutional duties has been settled by the Supreme Court of Kenya in Mate and another versus Wambora and another, 2017, KCSE 1, KLR, and the Court of Appeal in Mwangaza versus County Assembly of Meru and another, Council of Governors, Interested Party 2023, KECA 1599, KLR, where the two courts held that courts lack jurisdiction and are forbidden from interfering with the constitutional mandate of county assemblies and the Senate. That on the same question, the Speaker of the Senate, that any injunction interfering with the work of Parliament has no effect on Parliament in the exercise of its constitutional functions. That consequently, the Senate, through the Speaker of the Senate, ought to dismiss the preliminary objection and proceed unabated, unfettered, and unhindered, in line with the established precedents affirmed by both the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal. That in respect to the second preliminary objection, whether there was a sitting of the County Assembly to table, debate, pass, or vote on the motion for removal of governor from office by way of impeachment, the same is purely a factual and evidential matter that can only be resolved at the full hearing. That the governor's request for preliminary inquiry or trial within a trial is untenable, as it is a misguided attempt to obstruct and derail the proper proceedings of the House, and it is only necessary when the subject matter of the mini trial cannot be established in the full trial. That on the alleged fraud and forgery relating to the Hansard reports, fraud must be specifically pleaded, and particulars of the fraud alleged must be stated on the face of the pleadings. Moreover, considering that the standard of proof of fraud is more than a balance of probability, the allegations can only be established after a full trial. That the second preliminary objection is fatally defective and ought to be disallowed in the best interests of justice. that in respect to the third preliminary objection, whether the impeachment motion meets the criteria and legal threshold under Article 181 of the Constitution, Section 33 of the County Governments Act, and the standing orders of the Isiolo County Assembly, the issue can only be determined once the Senate has interrogated all the facts and evidence in the impeachment motion against the standard of impeachment as laid out by the Supreme Court in Sonko versus County Assembly of Nairobi City and 11 others, 2022 KESC 76 KLR. That the third preliminary objection is also fatally defective, as it calls upon the interrogation of the merits of the impeachment motion at a preliminary stage before the Senate has had the opportunity to hear the witnesses and consider the evidence laid by the parties. That the preliminary objections ought to be dismissed and the matter proceeds to a full trial for a determination on the merits. Now, Honorable Senators, counsel for the parties have this morning made oral submissions on the preliminary objections and responses thereto, following which a number of senators, including Senator Aaron Cheriot, Senator Daniel Manzo, Senator Karungo Thangwa, Senator Tomo Jenda, Senator Danson Mungatana, Senator Osotsi, Senator Samson Chirangei, Senator Eno Kumbua, Senator Wakili Sigei, Senator Catherine Muma, Senator Alexander Mundigi, Senator Agnes Gavindu, Senator Karen Nyamu, Senator Okio Mtata, Senator John Methu, Senator Peris Tobiko, Senator Mwenda Gataya, Senator A.C. Okenyuri sought clarifications on the same. In the clarifications, the senators ought to be informed, among other things, the identity of the clerk of the County Assembly, whether there was a sitting of the County Assembly of Isiolo on the impeachment process, and whether the Hansard recording of the Assembly's proceedings was submitted to the Senate in full and its validity in the proceedings before the Senate. The status of the decision of the High Court to nullify the proceedings of the County Assembly, whether the proceedings of the County Assembly are transmitted or broadcast live, the deployment of security officers at the County Assembly, whether the impeachment motion that was quashed by the High Court is the same motion submitted to the Senate, and its validity for impeachment proceedings against the governor, whether the sittings of the County Assembly were properly convened, whether or not there was a court order issued against the County Assembly on the impeachment process. Subsequently, counsel for the County Assembly gave responses to the questions and clarifications sought by senators by stating inter alia that the governor captured the clerk, and that the County Assembly had evidence in this respect, and that the impeachment process ought to proceed. That the preliminary objections are primarily founded on issues of law, and that the County Assembly had witness statements to counter the allegations made by the governor, that the County Assembly held sittings to impeach the governor, and evidence on the same will be adduced, that the Supreme Court, in case of Martin Nyaga Ombora, gave guidance in respect to incomplete impeachment proceedings. Likewise, counsel for the governor responded to the issues raised by senators by stating inter alia that with respect to the question relating to the work, relating to who the clerk of the County Assembly is, the County Assembly's own submissions in Volume 5 and page 8 settled the matter, that there were no sittings of the County Assembly, and that affidavits of the deponents in the proceeding indicated that there were no sitting of the County Assembly, that no appeal has been lodged on the court orders against the County Assembly, and that the motion before the Senate was the same motion declared null and void by the High Court. Arising from the preliminary issues canvassed, the following are the issues that require determination by the Senate. 1, whether the County Assembly of Isiolo held sittings on the 18th of June 2025 and 26th of June 2025 to table, debate, pass or vote on a motion for a proposed removal from office by impeachment of the governor of Isiolo County. And 2, whether in light of the court orders nullifying the proceedings of the County Assembly of 26th June 2025, the Senate is able to proceed with the hearing on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the governor of Isiolo County. Honorable Senators, it is not in doubt that the trial court in impeachment matters is the Senate. Accordingly, the preliminary objection raised by the counsel for the governor will be determined by a vote of the Senate. The procedure for proceeding to this vote will by a motion in the usual manner. preceded by a notice of motion. The vote will be taken upon the conclusion of debate. To this end, I have directed the clerk to prepare and circulate a supplementary order paper containing 2 notices of motion and the respective motions speaking to each of the preliminary issues raised. Honorable Senators, the decision on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of a county governor and any consequential or incidental decision thereto are matters concerning counties, and accordingly, and has been previously ruled, in all the impeachment processes undertaken by the Senate, these decisions are made by the Senate by vote by county delegations. Accordingly, the preliminary issues will be upheld only if supported by the votes of at least 24 delegations. It is clear that if the preliminary issue contesting whether the County Assembly of Isiolo held sittings on the 18th of June 2025 and 26th of June 2025 to table, debate, pass and or vote on the motion for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the governor of Isiolo County is upheld, this impeachment shall terminate forthwith, and it will not be necessary to proceed on the motion or vote on the second preliminary issue, as doing so will be an academic exercise. If, however, the first preliminary issue is negatived, the Senate will proceed to consider and determine the motion on the preliminary issue relating to the court orders and their effect. It is so directed. Thank you. Next order. Yes, Council.
Clarification from you, Mr. Speaker. During the proceedings that took place earlier on today, we as Council for the County Assembly understood Mr. Speaker as having directed that the members of this House, when they retire, to consider the preliminary objections you have just framed for their consideration, will have the benefit of listening to the audio of the proceedings in question. Mr. Speaker, when my colleagues who I act with for the County Assembly attempted to supply the audio to the Office of the Clerk was of the view that they did not hear you make the direction in respect of this audio being available for the members of this House to consider, and they asked us to come back to you and ask you to make an express direction to that effect. Mr. Speaker, I am on my feet this evening asking that that direction be made so that the material before members is complete, pursuant to directions that you had made earlier on. Thank you very much.
Honorable Counsel, maybe there was a misunderstanding. My directive was to the effect that while the senators retire to deliberate on this matter, they will also exercise their minds on the 2 videos that had been played. That was my understanding. That was my understanding. And that's why I upheld and agreed to the request that was made, so that the senators can look at those 2 videos that had been played.
Mr. Speaker, when Mr. Mawira was on his feet, I believe he asked the question directly, direction that suggested that even the audio should be supplied to the Office of the Clerk for that purpose.
Well, there is certainly no way we can accept further evidence that had not been submitted as part and parcel of your bundle of evidence.
I am guided, Mr. Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 2, notices of motion.
The Senate Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to give notice of the following motion, which is preliminary issues on whether the County Assembly of Isiolo held sittings on the 18th of June 2025 and 26th of June 2025 on the proposed removal from office by way of impeachment of the Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, Governor of Isiolo County, that whereas pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution and Section 33 of the County Governments Amendment Act, on Thursday, the 26th of June, 2025, the County Assembly of Isiolo approved a motion for the removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, the Governor of Isiolo County, and further whereas by letter reference CA RES Volume 1/001 dated 26 June 2025 and received in the office of the Speaker of the Senate on the 27th of June 2025, the Speaker of the County Assembly of Isiolo informed the Speaker of the Senate of the approval of the motion by the County Assembly and further forwarded to the Speaker of the Senate documents in evidence of the proceedings of the Assembly, including the list of the 16 out of 18 members of the County Assemblies that voted in favor of the removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, the Governor of Isiolo County, noting that a preliminary issue was raised by the Governor of Isiolo County on whether the County of Isiolo held sittings on the 18th of June 2025 and 26th of June 2025 to table, debate, pass, and or vote on the motion for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the Governor of Isiolo County. Now, therefore, the Senate resolves to uphold the preliminary issue raised on whether the County Assembly of Isiolo held sittings on the 18th of June 2025 and 26th of June 2025 to table, debate, pass, and or vote on the motion for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the Governor of Isiolo County, and accordingly terminates the proceedings for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, the Governor of Isiolo County. Mr. Speaker, I have the second motion on the second PO.
Proceed.
Can I proceed?
Proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I rise to give notice of the following motion. Further, this is a preliminary issue on the court orders on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, Governor of Isiolo County, that whereas pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution and Section 33 of the County Governments Act, on Thursday, the 26th of June 2025, the County Assembly of Isiolo approved a motion for the removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, the Governor of Isiolo County, and further whereas by letter reference CA/RES/Volume.1/001 dated 26th of June 2025 and received in the office of the Speaker of the Senate on the 27th of June 2025, the Speaker of the County Assembly of Isiolo informed the Speaker of the Senate of the approval of the motion by the County Assembly and further forwarded to the Speaker of the Senate documents in evidence of the proceedings of the Assembly, including the list of 16 out of 18 members of the County Assembly that voted in favor of the removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, the Governor of Isiolo County, noting that a preliminary issue was raised by the Governor of Isiolo County on whether, in light of the court orders nullifying the Senate proceedings, the County Assembly, by the proceedings of the County Assembly on 26 June 2025, the Senate is able to proceed with the hearings on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the Governor of Isiolo County. Now, therefore, the Senate resolves to uphold the preliminary issue raised in light of the court orders nullifying the proceedings of the County Assembly of 26 June 2025 and accordingly terminates the proceedings for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, the Governor of Isiolo County. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 3, motion, preliminary issue on whether the County Assembly of Isiolo held sittings on 18th June 2025 and 26th June 2025 on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, Governor of Isiolo County.
The Senate Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move the following motion, which is a motion on the preliminary issue on whether the County Assembly of Isiolo held sittings on the 18th of June 2025 and 26th June 2025 on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, the Governor of Isiolo County. That whereas the pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution and Section 33 of the County Governments Act, on Thursday the 26th, 2025, the County Assembly of Isiolo approved a motion for the removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, the Governor of Isiolo County. And further, whereas by letter reference CARES, Volume 1/001, dated 26th of June, 2025, and received in the office of the Speaker of the Senate on the 27th of June, 2025, the Speaker of the County Assembly of Isiolo informed the Speaker of the Senate of the approval of the motion by the County Assembly and further forwarded to the Speaker of the Senate documents in evidence of the proceedings of the Assembly, including the list of 16 out of 18 members of the County Assembly that voted in favor of the removal from office by impeachment of the Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, Governor of Isiolo County, noting that a preliminary issue was raised by the Governor of Isiolo County on whether the County Assembly of Isiolo held sittings on the 18th January 2025 and 26th June 2025 to table, debate, pass, and vote on the motion for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the Governor of Isiolo County. Now, therefore, the Senate resolves to uphold the preliminary issue raised on whether the County Assembly of Isiolo held sittings on the 18th of June 2025 and 26th of June 2025 to table, debate, pass, and or vote on the motion for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the Governor of Isiolo County, and accordingly terminates the proceedings for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, the Governor of Isiolo County. Mr. Speaker, there are certain things that I want to set on record first about this particular motion. One is that to me this is a procedural motion, which as duty will have me as leader of majority in the House, I get to move this motion. It does not necessarily mean that I believe in what the motion is asking the House to do. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, it is also important for it to go on record that we have split the two POs like you've explained in your communication to the House. But just for emphasis' sake, that we will be invited to debate two motions. And I like the emphasis, because I listened to you much as I was not seated here, that you gave that should this motion pass in the affirmative, then there will be no need even to go to the second motion, because it will mean these proceedings have terminated. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, this is a very serious matter which I want to invite colleague senators to sit, listen, and reason with me. That's why I had to give the first disclaimer, Mr. Speaker, because Isiolo is one of the 47 devolved units. When we come into this House, we don't swear to protect the interest of the specific counties that vote us to come to this House. It's the interest of devolution in the country of Kenya. Isiolo is part and parcel of Kenya. They have brought very serious issues to this House, Mr. Speaker. Issues that require very serious perusal. I don't think there's another county that you can think of that has two clerks, I think two speakers. I'm not sure whether there's another governor besides the one who's here. There are serious issues in this county, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, to reduce this matter to be purely just a procedural issue of whether there was a sitting or not, to me, then justice will have aborted, Mr. Speaker. I strongly hold the view that for us to serve justice to the people of Isiolo, Mr. Speaker, and this, you know, sometimes I agonize over the things that you have to do in leadership, Mr. Speaker, because I explained this and have said I'm moving this motion procedurally, Mr. Speaker, as expected. All motions have to be moved in the positive, then the House either negates or affirms what has been proposed to the House. And it's not every other day, Mr. Speaker, that I get to move a motion, but then move on to argue why that particular motion, Mr. Speaker, should be defeated. I think perhaps this is either the first or the second time. I haven't done this before, but it's with a heavy heart, because I have taken time. While the debates have been going on the POs, Mr. Speaker, I took time to also read the documents that have been brought before us, the things that the people of Isiolo are saying. In fact, I want to invite colleague senators to read the largest bundle of documents, that very fat file. It contains the things that residents of Isiolo said during the public participation, that they have high hope in this House, Mr. Speaker, that we will grant them justice, that they will have an opportunity to correct a decision they made on the 8th of August 2025. Whichever way, Mr. Speaker, that when you eventually consider these matters, they will feel that their county can work like a normal county. As it is, Mr. Speaker, if we move ahead and make this decision at this particular point in the affirmative and say that we confirm this PO and therefore we send these people back to Isiolo, what exactly are we sending them to do? What does it say of us as a House, Mr. Speaker? That people can argue, appear before us, and I speak like this, Mr. Speaker, because I've been a victim of this process. When the people of Kericho came before this House last year in October, the case terminated at PO level. And I can tell you, many of those issues that were not solved at that particular time continue to occur even today as we speak, Mr. Speaker. And I wouldn't wish that the same happens to Isiolo County, Mr. Speaker. I wouldn't wish that it happened in any of the 47 counties, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, I want to plead with colleagues that this is an opportunity that you are being granted. I don't know what the hurry will be about. And like I had said in the morning, Mr. Speaker, we don't have, as a House, the procedure for threshold of appeal that reaches the level where we have to determine by way of voting, especially POs that in their consideration would actually render the process fatal, Mr. Speaker. And that is something for us as a House we need to retreat and consider in terms of our procedure, Mr. Speaker. From history, since I came to this House, Mr. Speaker, this will only be the second time today that we're actually voting on a PO and terminating an impeachment hearing at a PO level if this motion was to pass as is, Mr. Speaker. The first one was in the case in Kericho. This will be the second time. I don't believe, Mr. Speaker, that that is justice. Justice shouldn't be that simplistic. I believe, Mr. Speaker, that there is a way in which the spirit of the Constitution does not just guide us by letter on what to do, but also by spirit, that this is a house of reflection, where when two entities of the same government, between the executive and the Assembly of Isiolo, argue and they present their issues before you, you sit as a neutral arbiter and observe. It doesn't mean, Mr. Speaker, that eventually, I don't know how members will vote on the issue of whether to uphold the impeachment or otherwise. But at least, at the very least, Mr. Speaker, we owe the people of Isiolo a chance to listen to them, Mr. Speaker. We owe them an opportunity to air their issues, Mr. Speaker. We need to understand, Mr. Speaker, how did we end up with two clerks in one assembly? What was the process that was followed? I have seen bundles in the document that actually, that there is even the gazettement, while the impeachment of the governor was going on, there appears to have been a separate impeachment, Mr. Speaker, of the Speaker of the same county assembly as well. I don't know which assembly voted. Then it appears perhaps maybe there are two assemblies as well in this particular county. That points that there are serious issues. Colleagues, I want to plead with you. The decision is ultimately yours. I have only one vote out of the 47 delegations that are in this House. But as a leader in this House, Mr. Speaker, I want to plead with you that these issues are not as light as somebody will want to determine them and say, do we find out? And by the way, make no mistake, colleagues, I'm not asking of you to pass judgment based on the very elementary issue of whether there was an impeachment process that followed the due process of law, Mr. Speaker, or not. I am only saying, given that these issues arose at PO level, Mr. Speaker, you haven't had the opportunity and the time. You saw the struggle of the Council for County Assembly just minutes ago, Mr. Speaker, asking, I thought I had him right, by the way, and I'm not being biased, but I'm saying what I had, the council who spoke when he presented the issue, I thought they asked you that you allow them, Mr. Speaker, for them to produce the Hansard of the assembly sittings on that day. And my hearing at that particular time was that actually you had accepted. But I'm not challenging your decision where you have said the time for production of evidence is over. But if we grant them this opportunity, you will make an even more informed decision, colleagues, because at that time, you will now be able to determine whether indeed There was a sitting on the 18th, and there was a sitting on the 26th, Mr. Speaker, that eventually led to the impeachment of this governor. When we go the full process, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, this is not a very easy exercise. This is a moment where I know each senator uses very different ways to arrive at a decision. But much as this motion, Mr. Speaker, proposes that we confirm, I want to ask of the House that we give justice to the people of Isiolo. Listen to their issues, then eventually make a determination based on what you have seen, on the evidence that has been presented before you. You know, Mr. Speaker, when we eventually consider that earlier matter that I raised on the threshold for appeal that can be fatal to an impeachment hearing here in the Senate, Mr. Speaker, perhaps we can put it in law that even if we make that determination, then allow us to at least listen to some of the issues and propose solutions, even if I don't believe necessarily that the end of an impeachment process should just be about removal or staying in office of a county government. There are other administrative issues that we can address as a House. It will be possible, Mr. Speaker, to establish and understand many of these things that have been raised before involving government officials, Mr. Speaker. There are police officers that have sworn affidavits. It will be good to understand what is their reasoning. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I will be proposing to the House, even after this particular process, that let us not handle another impeachment without considering this process that we began in October of last year and making an amendment, even if it means amending our standing orders, Mr. Speaker. We need to amend our standing orders so that an impeachment process does not terminate, Mr. Speaker, at PO level. It is not a good thing. And I have said that today. I said it during the time for Kericho. I will say it in the future because that's what I believe. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I want to leave it to colleagues to reflect and consider. Today is Isiolo. Tomorrow it may be your county. When you get an opportunity to present your issues before this House, there is a way through which even citizens of your county will expect that this House treats these particular matters. Mr. Speaker, I've been in the House long enough to understand when colleagues begin to tell you that we have heard you and we know what we need to do. I believe in moving this motion, I have reached that particular point because I can hear the consultations and I can read also what the faces are saying, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, with those very many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move and request the Senator of Kilifi, the leader of minority, Senator Justice Retired Stewart Mazayo, to second me in this motion, Mr. Speaker, and lead the House in making the right decision. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Asante mstahiki Spika. Mstahiki Spika, kwanza najua tuko katika hali ya panda mbili kwa sababu yaliyoko mbele yetu ni mazito, lakini kwa sababu hii ndio kazi mojawapo ambao maseneta ni lazima waifanye, ni jukumu langu pia mimi kuweza kuunga mkono yote aliyosema kiongozi wa walio wengi, ya kwamba iliyoko hapa ni hoja ya kumngatua gavana kutoka kwa mamlaka, lakini hivi sasa ni kuweza kukamilisha ama kuweza kujadiliana na kujua tutaendelea ama hatutaendelea na hii kesi, kwa sababu ya yale ambayo yamewekwa mbele yetu. Kitu cha kwanza ambacho mimi ningependa kufahamisha maseneta wenzangu ni jambo la kwamba mashtaka yaliyoko mbele yetu ni mashtaka yana uzito sana, ambapo yakipatikana kama ni ukweli, basi hatua ile itakayochukuliwa ni kukubaliana na kile ile preliminary objection ambayo iko hapa ama kuikataa. Kuna uzito wa aina yake. Kwa hiyo katika uamuzi wetu sisi tunatakana tufahamu, tuangalie na tupime na tuone ya kweli kuna shida ndani ya Isiolo County. Ndugu zetu wa Isiolo, ni jambo la kusikitisha hivi sasa ikiwa tunaweza kujadiliana mahali ambapo mngekuwa mlikaa nyinyi wenyewe mkaelewana, na alafu hii mambo haingefika hapa. Kwa hiyo kisu kata pande zote mbili. Sisi tutajaribu kufanya vile tutakavyofanya, ama kujadiliana, na hatimaye mwisho tutachukua hatua. Mstahiki Spika, kitu cha kwanza, kitu cha pili ambacho pia vile vile napenda kuongea ni kwa sababu kumekuwa na sintofahamu za mikutano. Mawakili waliokuwa hapa mbele yetu wameweza kusema, wengine wanasema kumekuwa na mikutano, zile documents ama yale stakabadhi zote ambazo mmetupatia hapa tuziangalie. Pia vile vile zilikuwa na record zake vile vile zinasema, wengine walisema kwamba kulikuwa na mikutano, wengine wanasema hakukuwa na mikutano. Kwa hiyo tunataka kusema ya kwamba hili ni jambo ambalo tutaamua, na ni jambo gumu na litagusia mambo mengi ambayo inaweza kuona ya kwamba watu wa Isiolo wapate haki yao. Bwana Spika, nataka pia kuongezea kwamba wakati tukisimamisha kulinganishana na hii preliminary objection, tujue ya kwamba tutakuwa tumechukua hatua ya juu sana. Vile vile ikiwa tutaachilia, pia tutakuwa tumechukua hatua ya juu, kwa sababu mashtaka yaliyoko hapa, ile impeachment, kumngatua gavana, ni kwamba gavana hatakuwa na, tunaona vile tu ambavyo impeachment vile huwa, ama mashtaka vile huwa, ambayo gavana akingatuliwa kwenye mamlaka huwa hana mbele ama hana nyuma kwa kuenda ama kufanya chochote. Atakuwa hana haki yeye hata kushika kazi ndani ya ofisi ama kupewa kazi yoyote. Kwa hiyo ni jukumu letu sisi kuangalia, je, mashtaka haya yako na haki ya kuendelea ama hayana haki ya kuendelea, kulinganishana na zile stakabadhi ambazo tuko nazo mbele zetu. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, mimi naona huu ni mtihani mkubwa sana kwa bunge la Senate, lakini niko na imani na hili bunge la Senate, kwa sababu wote walioko hapa, wengi wetu tukiwa kama sisi ni mawakili, wengine wakiwa ni wafanyi biashara na watu waliobobea zaidi. Tuko na magavana ambao wameweza kutoka huko katika kaunti zao, wako hapa ndani pia, wataweza kutueleza katika ujuzi wao waliokuwa nao. Bwana Mstahiki Spika, mimi naona hili ni jambo ambalo sisi sote lazima tuzingatie, na mimi ikiwa nitasimama hapa nikiunga mkono kiongozi wa walio wengi kwa hoja hii, ni kwamba sote nyoyo zetu tuziweke wazi, sote tuangalie hii kesi kamilifu, na sote tuwe na uwezo wa kuamua haki ili itendeke. Na niko na imani vile wa Kenya wote ambao wako na imani na bunge la Senate, leo ni mtihani mkubwa sana kuona ya kwamba sisi tutasimamia haki, kuona ya kwamba kama ni udhaifu ambao umeletewa gavana, tunaweza kusimamisha. Kama ni udhaifu umeletewa watu wa Isiolo, tunaweza kusimamisha. Kwa hiyo sisi tunasema ya kwamba tutatenda haki kulinganishana na vile tulivyoinua katiba, na tukasema tutatendea katiba kama kiongozi wa nchi yetu. Asante Bwana Spika, naunga mkono.
Now, honorable senators, before I proceed to propose the question, just a little advice to our majority leader. I fully understand your pains. However, going forward, if you have some misgivings because of your personal persuasion and you're called upon to move such a motion, kindly delegate. It'll save a lot of pains. because you're almost tearing. I could see you're almost tearing, and that will help you. So, honorable senators, will now proceed to propose the question that whereas pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution and Section 33 of the County Governments Act, on Thursday, 26 June 2025, the County Assembly of Isiolo approved a motion for the removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, the Governor of Isiolo County. And further, whereas by a letter reference CA/RES/Volume 1/001, dated 26 June 2025, and received in the office of the Speaker of the Senate on 27 June 2025, the Speaker of the County Assembly of Isiolo informed the Speaker of the Senate of the approval of the motion by the County Assembly and further forwarded to the Speaker of the Senate documents in evidence of the proceedings of the Assembly, including the list of 16 out of 18 members of the County Assembly that voted in favor of the removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, the Governor of Isiolo County. Noting that a preliminary issue was raised by the Governor of Isiolo County on whether the County Assembly of Isiolo held sittings on 18th June 2025 and 26 June 2025 to table, debate, pass, and all vote on the motion for the proposed removal from office by impeachment. Now, therefore, the Senate resolves to uphold the preliminary issue raised on whether the County Assembly of Isiolo held sittings on 18th June 2025 and 26 June 2025 to table, debate, pass, or vote on the motion for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the Governor of Isiolo County, and accordingly terminates the proceedings for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Abdi Ibrahim Hassan, the Governor of Isiolo County. Now, honorable senators, the floor is open for debate. Yes, certainly it cannot be a point of order, Senator Methu.
Clarification, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed.
Then, Mr. Speaker, sir, I raised pursuant to Standing Order 111 of our own standing orders, Mr. Speaker, on limitation of debate. I need not to buttress the fact that this will be an extremely important motion, and I'm sure many colleagues would want to comment on this motion, especially on the fact of the fatality of the process if this motion was to be carried. I'm sure many colleagues would want to comment on this motion, and if each of us was to take 15 minutes, certainly it will really take us a lot of time. Number two, Mr. Speaker, also, I have seen and have had a look at the schedule that you had already given on how we shall conduct this impeachment hearing of Governor Guyo. And I think, Mr. Speaker, we are way behind the schedule that we had already given, Mr. Speaker. On dispensing the preliminary objection, Mr. Speaker, I think it was not meant to take this long. So therefore, I want to propose, if it is agreeable to colleagues here so that we can have as many colleagues comment on this matter, that debate is limited to 4 minutes so that they can be accommodative to, well, it's allowed.
Honorable senators, allow the senator to move his motion for limitation, and thereafter we will see if he can strike a consensus on the time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I see that many colleagues are actually proposing 3, and I am also agreeable that we agree to 3 so that many people can be able to comment, and so that we can be able to be accommodative. We can condense our thoughts and have them in 3 minutes. If this motion is not carried, then the rest of what we want to say, we can say it in the main motion if this motion is not carried. Maybe if you allow me, Mr. Speaker, I will invite my leader, Honorable Wambua, to second.
Mr. Speaker, I second the proposal to limit debate to 3 minutes.
Now, honorable senators, to save time, if we have a consensus, we need not to go through the procedural motions to prosecute this motion. It has been suggested that each senator getting to the floor to speak under 3 minutes. If that is the consensus, then we proceed. So 3 minutes it is. The Senator for Nairobi City County, Senator Edwin Sifuna. Before you speak, Senator for Nairobi City County, what is your clarification, Senator Maruma?
Maybe I would like to request that instead of all of us really debating, because this is a PO, then you can limit to maybe six from both sides, so that don't use a lot of time.
Now, honorable senators, the motion as proposed by Senator Methu has been dispensed with. We are not going to amend midway. Senator for Nairobi City County, you may proceed.
Honorable Speaker, when we come here and take oath there to uphold the law, there really is no room for sentiment. You have to do what is right by the law. It doesn't matter what personal feelings you have. In fact, Mr. Speaker, I have a problem with the way this motion was framed, because the question as to whether there was a sitting on the 26th has already been answered by the Assembly itself. The Assembly has told us that, in fact, there was no sitting on the 26th because of the circumstances. That is the truth. Secondly, the reason why I feel like this is a moot question. As a lawyer, I took an oath on the 2nd of October in 2008 to uphold the Constitution and the law. Impeachment processes are guided by the Constitution and the law. If a court of competent jurisdiction has said it doesn't matter whether there was a sitting on 26th or not, whatever happened that day is null and void. There's nothing to discuss. It is that simple. So for me, Honorable Speaker, I am very clear in my mind, there has been a tacit concession by the Assembly that in fact there was no sitting. There is a second limb that in fact there is a court decision.
Senator for Nairobi City
Yes.
County. That is the second motion that is yet to be moved.
I understand, Honorable Speaker, these two matters are related. I was speaking to the motion.
I've given a guidance that we
I was speaking to the motion. The motion is whether there was a sitting, and the question of whether it is a question to be put anyway is what I am addressing, Honorable Speaker, with due respect. I have had senior colleagues in the profession, and I have tremendous respect for all of them. It will be the darkest day, Honorable Speaker, when me, as a lawyer who's also an appointed officer of the court, the person who has been crying all over the place saying we need to respect the rule of law, and that the cornerstone of rule of law is obedience of court orders. I was one of the lawyers for Miguna. We got almost 12 court orders. They were all disobeyed by some people now who are running around telling us about court orders in this country. So, Honorable Speaker, for me, the question as to whether there was a sitting has already been answered by the Assembly themselves, and the answer can be played back. You will hear counsel admitting that in fact the circumstances on that day did not favor a sitting. They have had to go and repair and look for Hansard material because of that circumstance that he told us about. If you don't follow procedure, Honorable Speaker, it doesn't really matter. These conversations that the majority leader was inviting us to have, we have committees of this House whose work is to look into affairs of county governments. And in fact, we have done it in the county of Nyamira. So, Honorable Speaker, my position is I am not convinced that there was a sitting on the 26th. That process.
Senator for Nairobi City County, just take a seat. Senator Mandago, what is your point of order?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, I didn't want to interrupt the lawyer, Senator Sifuna, but I thought I heard very clearly the county assembly said there was a sitting, only that there was destruction of the evidence of the answered, Honorable Speaker. It cannot be true to say that there was no sitting.
So is that a point of information or?
I'm lost because I didn't even know when there was consensus.
You may use that information if need be.
The beauty with our proceedings, unlike the ones in Isiolo, we are live on TV, the Hansard is here, it can be read back. He said it was not possible, the circumstances obtaining on that particular day.
Senator Morango. Now, honorable senators, once you get an opportunity to debate this motion, remember we are debating on the motion on whether there was a sitting. The motion on the court orders shall come next, depending on the outcome of this particular motion. Proceed, Senator Morango.
Asante sana Mstahiki Spika kwa kunipa hii nafasi. Mstahiki Spika, hapo awali kabla sijakuwa seneta nilikuwa mwakilishi wandi katika gatuzi za Kirinyaga. Na zaidi nilikuwa kiongozi wa wengi wakati huo. Wakati huo pia tuliweza kung'atua ngavana nikiweko. Na tukamleta hapa na akarudi. Na ni sawa. Mstahiki Spika, na bado yuko. Mstahiki Spika, kuna umuhimu wa kikao cha bunge la gatuzi kukaa katika mahali ambapo panajulikana na pamewekwa katika gazeti la serikali. Wakati huo nakumbuka vichwa vyetu vilikuwa vinatakikana. Lakini sisi zote ambao tulikuwa tunaamini na tumeamua lazima gavana aende, tulilala katika bunge la gatuzi la Kirinyaga kuhakikisha tumefanya kazi yetu. Kwa nini? Ili kufuata sheria na kanuni zilizowekwa. Kwa hivyo, Mstahiki Spika, uhitaji wetu kama seneta ni kufanya jambo ambalo lililo halali la kisheria. Mstahiki Spika, chumvi haina maana kwa mtu ambaye anakunywa chai. Vile vile sukari haina maana kwa mtu anayekunywa supu. Sisi tutakuwa tu na maana kama utakuja kufanya uamuzi ambao unakizana na sheria za nchi hii. Asante sana Mstahiki Spika.
Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute on this motion. Mr. Speaker, we are sworn to uphold the law, and every process which goes on in the county assemblies and even in this Senate and any house has to follow the law. In the case of Kenya, it has to be the Constitution of Kenya and the acts of Parliament dealing with that particular matter. Mr. Speaker, anything outside that then becomes a different scenario, and the law has to apply as it is decided. Mr. Speaker, the issue of an impeachment of a governor is a very serious matter and has very serious consequences, and therefore the law must be followed to the letter so that the Assembly does not get involved in an exercise in futility, nor does this House get involved in an exercise in futility. The moment we make a decision, the governor can go to a court to seek further justice, or the Assembly can also go to a court to seek further justice if we never followed the process. And therefore, it is a matter of a vote. We will vote according to our conviction, Mr. Speaker, and the decision will be carried in one way or another. So finally, it is a vote. And the law recognizes that vote, whichever it has gone, it has very serious consequences, and therefore, it has to be fair, Mr. Speaker. And the best way to make sure that the decision is fair, it is the adherence of the Constitution and the relevant statutes, and also the procedures laid in our standing orders, Mr. Speaker, so that justice is accorded to all parties involved, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I look forward to this vote, and this debate is very important. It guides the House, and the whole country is following what this House does, and the country takes the Senate very seriously as a place. While we all sit as judges and will pass judgment in one way or another, the judgment has to be fair and in accordance with the law. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I support the motion and I will be voting. I thank you.
Senator Mgatana.
Mr. Speaker, every time we come to this House, the House Business Committee must have sat down. They must have balloted the motions. They must have prepared which motions are significant or prioritized. And then an order paper is prepared, Mr. Speaker. And when that order paper is prepared and it has a motion, the notice of motion would be moved like we did today. And then once that notice is given, there will be a debate. There is no question about that. Mr. Speaker, when we say that a meeting took place, the debate took place, I expected that there will be minutes of the House Business Committee of Isiolo County Assembly. Mr. Speaker, I expected that there would be evidence of notice of motion, at least, or even referring that there was notice of motion on that day. Mr. Speaker, nothing has been told, even mentioned in passing, Mr. Speaker. So let us not disregard the processes we have known, the way we have done things in these houses. It cannot be different for Isiolo. It is the same here in this house. It is the same in the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, let us not debate this matter. Let us agree. There was no meeting that took place on 18th. And if there was something else, Mr. Speaker, they would have given us those audios. They would have given us the videos. And if they cannot, they didn't even talk about it, Mr. Speaker. So I'm just wondering why we are even discussing this matter. Because, Mr. Speaker, it is clear that there was no meeting, even without going to the issue of the court orders. I want also to say something, Mr. Speaker. I want to disabuse my colleagues of the idea that we are being unfair. No, we are not being unfair, or we are not denying anybody justice. Somebody here in the argument tried to move the idea that we are denying someone justice. What do you mean, Mr. Speaker? I want to say this. When we are moving petitions in this house, Mr. Speaker, petitions, one of the things that you swear to is that that matter that is in petition, understanding order number 235, if I'm not wrong, you are swearing that there's no matter pending before court. Mr. Speaker, I remember very well when our chair was Honorable Wamatinga. We went to Uyombo, where there was a nuclear plant that was being proposed to be built. And it was the petition of the Honorable, very distinguished Senator Okiya Omtata. And when we went there, Mr. Speaker, one of the things we asked the people, have you taken this matter to court? They said they have. And
Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the matter before us is very weighty because the issue of there not being a sitting is not a matter that we can take lightly, Mr. Speaker. I have listened to my good friend, Majority Leader, but I want to tell him that we cannot violate the law just because we want to listen to evidence which looks weighty. We must look at what the law says. In the matter of Kericho, Mr. Speaker, we had a serious issue of 2/3 threshold. And this House decided that because of that issue of 2/3, we dispense with the matter at the PO. In this case, Mr. Speaker, there was no sitting. The Article 181 of our Constitution, Section 33 of County Government Act, and Standing Order number 65 of Isiolo County Assembly is very clear on the need to have a sitting and a motion tabled. There was no sitting, there was no tabling of any motion, and Mr. Speaker, we are sitting here and asking for video recordings, which we were not being given. Mr. Speaker, we are very considerate as a Senate. We have thrown out a number of motions, for example, Meru, because you wanted to teach the MCS what to do right. And they went, they did the right thing, and we impeached the governor. In this case, Mr. Speaker, we need to send them back to do the right job so that when they bring here a proper impeachment motion, this House will have the obligation, exercising Article 96 of the Constitution, to send the governor away. But you cannot allow people to meet in a bar, Mr. Speaker, present a motion to us, and this House sends away a governor who has been duly elected by the people. That will be setting a wrong precedent. And Mr. Speaker, I want to dissuade colleagues that let us deal with this PO in a very objective manner, follow the law, because we cannot continue listening to a motion that is a nullity, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I support this motion.
Senator Boni.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you. And Mr. Speaker, county assemblies are starting to become very fearless. They don't fear the law. They don't fear the people. They don't fear this Senate. Mr. Speaker, colleagues, remember the dilemma we have in Nyamira. They have even gone as far as cheating the control of budget to approve budgets that were not done by the actual assembly. Mr. Speaker, I want to appeal to the people of Isiolo that we are here, we are your friends. You've set a precedent through your county assemblies. You brought a 1,570 document to prove your case. That we cannot ignore. However, you must know that the process is just as important as the reason for removing the governor. The reason for removing the governor is what you have in the 1,570-page document. But the process is in the PO. And I'm very disappointed, Mr. Speaker, by the councils of the county assembly that because you are procured at a very high cost, how could you come here and think that you would pull the mat from under our feet and get away with it? That a qualified lawyer, not one, 5 of them, can imagine that a PO would never come if they came here. You should have anticipated this PO and come with the videos and audios. The reason why you don't have is because they're not there. Mr. Speaker,
What is the point of order, Senator for Meru?
Honorable Speaker, you know I have a lot of respect for my colleague, Boni Karwale, Senator Boni Karwale. But you know, Mr. Speaker, as much as we want to put our points across, the meaning, learned friends, people who have been to school, and coming to lecture professionals, that is not the right thing that we should do, Honorable Boni Karwale. You can just give the... Why are you standing up when I'm... You see, Honorable Speaker...
Conclude on your...
You know, he is a senior senator, and he should know the ropes of this House, Mr. Speaker. Number one, I don't understand. To be very clear, Honorable Speaker, and to go on record, those 2 young men are from my county. Wakiri Mawera Mwerero.
Order, honorable senators, order.
I am representing them in the Senate. Wakiri Motuma is from my county. We are proud because of these senior royals from Meru who have done a lot to bring devolution to honor, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Fumeru, what is your point of order, please? Go straight to your point of order.
Mr. Speaker, I wanted Senator Boni Karwale to withdraw those ones he has used on and apologize to those lawyers, Mr. Speaker, because if we go that way, then, Mr. Speaker, we are degenerating to very funny things. Let me tell you, Mr. Speaker, one thing. If you discuss anything to do with the doctors, Boni Karwale, you know I chair this house. When somebody discusses doctors in this house, you usually get even your shoes out to draw to members. Now respect the other professionals. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Including farmer, Senator Medu, potato farmer.
Now, order, honorable senators. Order, honorable senators. Now, Senator Boni of Kakamega County. The competence or otherwise of council is not a matter of debate before this House. Kindly proceed to withdraw and apologize to council seated there. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as a competent professional,
Order, honorable senators. Order, allow the honorable senator to proceed. Proceed to withdraw.
Mr. Speaker, as a competent professional, I see no shame, I feel no shame in withdrawing. Mr. Speaker, going forward, I would like to remind the House that the decisions we make today, I have withdrawn. What more do you want me to do?
Chairing these proceedings. Any member, now honorable senators, order, honorable senators. Senator Chimera, I'm giving you the caution of the day. You proceed, I throw you out. Conclude.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether you held my time when the other discourse was
Absolutely. You have 1 minute to conclude.
1 minute?
Yes, that is the time we held.
Mr. Speaker, I'll therefore want to strongly support that this motion sails so that the MCS can go and put their act together. We want to sit on an impeachment process.
Honorable Senator, for the record, you were to withdraw and apologize, then proceed to conclude your submissions. You've done only one limp. You have withdrawn. Kindly complete by apologizing, then conclude on your submissions.
Mr. Speaker, as I apologize, I conclude. Mr. Speaker, I conclude. Again, my 1 minute was taken away, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I conclude by requesting MCAs across the Republic to respect the process of removing governors just as they find it important to have reason to remove them. Law is not like medicine. Medicine is only in medicine where...
Senator Wambua.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I see excitement. I don't know why there is excitement. Mr. Speaker, I stand here to say only two things. One, Mr. Speaker, is to try and give comfort to the majority leader, Senator Cheruiyot, that he shouldn't worry so much about what happened in the Kericho case. The Senate is still here. He should go and tell the MCRs in Kericho to meet the threshold and bring the case here. We are here. We are not going anywhere, Mr. Speaker. Second, Mr. Speaker, when you took me for training the other day, Mr. Speaker, and the trainer kept saying, Mr. Speaker,
Order, honorable senators. Order, Senator Fernandi. Order, Senator Fernandi.
Mr. Speaker, and the trainer kept saying that as leaders, the process is as important as the outcome. I did not know that I was being prepared for such a time as this. Mr. Speaker, when I reflect back in 1995, in the O.J. Simpson case, where everybody in the courtroom believed that O.J. Simpson was guilty of murder. And evidence adduced by counsel of a glove that they said was used in the murder. And O.J. Simpson was told to try the glove. And it did not fit. And the counsel moved the court and said, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. It doesn't matter, Mr. Speaker, what the governor of Isiolo has done, and I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, he has appeared before me once in the CPAC. And I have serious issues with the way that county government is being run. Serious issues. But Mr. Speaker, those issues aside, the process must bear us out. We are here debating the process by which the governor was brought here.
We cannot be the people, Mr. Speaker, that circumvent the same process to fast track the hearing. Let the MCAs from Isiolo get the process right. The Senate is here.
Senator Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to submit, just like my colleagues have submitted, that the process of anything is as important as the result, Mr. Speaker, because justice must be served to all parties. In this particular case, Mr. Speaker, we have the County Assembly on one side and the Governor of Isiolo County on the other side, Mr. Speaker. And much as each side wants justice delivered, but process and procedure must be followed. Mr. Speaker, the majority leader here has argued that we should go ahead to listen to this particular motion in order for us to be able to afford and accord the people of Isiolo an opportunity to correct the decision that they made in 2022. But Mr. Speaker, this does not relate only to the county, to Isiolo County government. Anytime we impeach a governor, Mr. Speaker, the deputy governor takes over. So then, what assurance do we have if we say that we want to throw out the county governor to correct a mistake made in 2022? What guarantees are there that the deputy governor then becomes the desirable person to of course, run that particular county, Mr. Speaker? And also in that, Mr. Speaker, I want to tell the majority leader that some of us may also want to correct a mistake we made in 2022 of electing the sitting president, but we have to follow the procedure. And so we cannot, Mr. Speaker, stand here and say that just because, Mr. Speaker, can I be heard in silence, Mr. Speaker?
What is your point of order, Senator Mundigi?
Please freeze my time.
Order.
Senator Nyotu havai kuongea mambo ya jina ya rais wa Kenya, wakati hapa tunaongea mambo ya devolution, wakati hapa tunaongea mambo ya kuokoa governor ama kuokoa MCA. Kwa hivyo amekosea kutanja jina ya rais wa Kenya katika kwa hii kikao.
Order, honorable senators, order. Order. I think what Senator Newton has said is if you need to remove a president, you need to use the constitutional means, which is a fact. Conclude. Conclude.
So thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you also for educating Senator Mundigi, and to also tell him to be a better listener than a better talker, Mr. Speaker. So what I was saying is that we cannot forget about procedure and process just because we want any public officer out of office. That we must follow procedure, and just like we are waiting, that's what I was saying, to remove President Ruto in 2027 by a way of vote, the people of Isiolo will have to wait.
Order, honorable senator. Senator Newton, just take your seat. Senator Newton, I've given you latitude. Don't abuse it. As you make your comments, leave alone the name of the president. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm advised. So what we are saying, I'm just joining my colleagues in saying that the County Assembly of Isiolo must put its act together, and that the County Assembly must not be motivated by the need to remove the county governor and thereby forget about the procedure and the process. Mr. Speaker, the 26th of June, because there is no evidence whatsoever, audio or even written anywhere, Mr. Speaker. I believe that the images that we saw there, Mr. Speaker, cannot be proof enough that even audio recordings were destroyed just because maybe there were those incidents that the councils for the county assembly were able to show on through that video, Mr. Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, let the county assembly bring a better motion where they'll have sat.
Senator Faki.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii. Nafikiri swala ambalo tunatakana kuamua ni je, tuendelee na hii kesi mpaka mwisho ama tuimalizie hapa ilipofika. Na nafikiri sisi kama Senate, japokuwa tumekaa kama mahakama, lakini sio mahakama kulingana na ile undani kabisa. Kwa hivyo sisi hatuwezi kufungwa mikono kwa sababu ya masuala ya kiprosija ama kimwelekeo. Kama Senate tuna jukumu la kuhakikisha kwamba sheria ama haki inapatikana. Je, haki ile itapatikana kwa watu wa Isiolo na watu wengine wote wakati tutakapomaliza hii kesi katika preliminary stage, ama itapatikana wakati tutakaposikizwa mpaka mwisho? Tumeona kwamba hata kama itakuwa Senate imefanya makosa katika kumbandua mamlakani governor ana nafasi ya kwenda mahakama ya High Court, kwenda mahakama ya rufaa, mpaka mahakama ya upeo zaidi katika nchi yetu. Kwa hivyo hapa kwa sasa hatuamui tuampeleka nyumbani, tuambandua governor ama hatumbandui. Hapa tunachoamua ni kwamba je, tusikize ushahidi wote kamili ili tuweze kupata taswira kamili ya yale ambayo yalitokea kule Isiolo. Kama ushahidi ambao utasikizwa hautaweza kufikia kile kiwango kinachohitajika na sheria, basi itakuwa hatuna budi kumwachilia. Lakini kwa sasa itakuwa ni kinyume na vile vile pia ni dhulma kwa watu wa Isiolo iwapo tutaweza kumaliza kesi hii katika hii mahali ambapo imefikia katika hatua ya mwanzo kabisa kulingana na sheria. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi napinga hii hoja ya kupitishwa kwa hii primary objection. Nasema kwamba wacha kesi iendelee mpaka mwisho, kwa sababu hakuna chochote ambacho tutapunguza ama tutaongeza tukiendelea mpaka mwisho. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Senator Ali Roba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. First and foremost, and albeit the fact that the times given is very short, the issue before us that is to be determined as a Senate is the impeachment of the governor. And that justice can only be arrived at if we look at the substance of the case to logical conclusion prior to killing the case before it even starts. The saddest point, Mr. Speaker, is that even listening this case, whether the governor is impeached or he is not impeached, Isiolo County is at a very desperate situation. The situation in Isiolo County, whether the governor is impeached or not impeached, is not going to improve because of the lawlessness that has prevailed in that Isiolo County. Mr. Speaker, I see no harm for the Senate of the Republic of Kenya, just like any other court, despite the fact that preliminary objections will be raised, for the Senate to listen to the substance of the case and make a determination after all the evidence has been heard and processed. Because what we are trying to do is to kill the case before it has even started. Yet the same issues would be able to be brought forth in the substance of the case in terms of trying to debate and get. This is not about whether the governor can be impeached or not impeached, but is whether the Senate can listen to the case, exhaustively, to be able to determine from a very informed point of view that this case has been substantiated or not substantiated on the basis of the evidence that will be presented before us. And the issues that has been shared will come out to light with even more evidence. It could even give, a very decisive position for us to be able to make two serious references within the evidence that are produced by the county assembly or the council for the governor, for that matter. I oppose this motion and seek to convince my colleagues that we are better off determining this case after having listened to the substance of the case exhaustively to its logical conclusion. Mr. Speaker, sir, I oppose.
Senator Omtata.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for the opportunity. Allow me to read a verse, a section of this book, A Man for All Seasons. It says, Roper says, so now you would give the devil the benefit of law. More replies, yes. What would you do? Cut a great road through the law to get after the devil? Roper replies, I would cut down every law in England to do that. More replies, oh, and when the last law was down and the devil turned round on you, where would you hide, Roper? The laws all being flat. This country is planted thick with laws from coast to coast. Man's laws, not God's. And if you cut them down and you are just the man to do that, would blow. Yes, I would give the devil benefit of law for my own safety's sake. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, those words that were uttered, that were written in 1960 in the play A Man for All Seasons, underscore my position that we must uphold the rule of law in this country. Article 3, Clause 1 of the Constitution calls upon us to do just that, and having listened to the motions here, from the way the matter was conducted, clearly we had two motions before this House, with an application for dismissal based on the fact that there was no hearing, and there was a preliminary objection based on the fact that there was a court order. So, disposing of that motion, when you allowed evidence to be adduced to move into a motion, I would say that having listened to what was presented, there was no sitting of the Assembly that meets the threshold in law. The Assembly has got a designated place where it sits. The Assembly has got clear procedures to be followed. And unfortunately, the evidence before us is such that that sitting did not take place. Number two, we were told that we could ignore the court orders. I would like to persuade the Land Council, who are saying that the High Court had no business to intervene, to look at Article 165 of the Constitution.
Senator from
Busia
County.
Yes.
Just restrict your submissions to the motion on the sittings.
Yeah, so
when we come to the second motion, you will make these comments.
Okay. So I'm fully persuaded that there was no sitting that that gives us jurisdiction to sit.
Senator Karen Nyamu.
Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, this is a joke and a dangerous one, Mr. Speaker. Where does the team of the County Assembly of Isiolo get the audacity to walk into this Senate without a shred of evidence that a sitting of a county assembly ever took place? Mr. Speaker, this is not a WhatsApp group. This is a constitutional institution. Where is the Hansard? Where is the attendance record? And I want to be very clear. There was no sitting, and therefore there was no impeachment, Mr. Speaker. And with those very few remarks, I support.
Senator Professor Tomo Jenda.
Mr. Speaker, the jurisprudential contours of impeachment are embedded both in procedure and in substance, and now well settled, Mr. Speaker, in the case of Martin Nyaga Wambora and County Assembly of Embu. I took part in the case. The case of Mohammed Ali Mahmoud and County Assembly Wajir, Mr. Speaker, again I took part in the case, and we got the governor back to office because there was a court order. And lastly, Kawera Mangaza and the County Assembly of Meru, and the recent case, Mr. Speaker, of Onyango Olo versus County Assembly of Kisumu. Mr. Speaker, the question as to whether there was a sitting is answered by the documents filed before the Senate. The affidavit of Salad Boru Guracha speaks to whether or not there was a sitting, and it is emphatic, Mr. Speaker, that there was no sitting. The second affidavit that we have, Mr. Speaker, on record is by Habiba Galgalo Jirma, who is the Chief Finance Officer and who also confirms that there was no sitting. The third affidavit is by the Honorable Abinur D. Mojilo, who is an elected member of Kina Ward and who confirms that there was no sitting. The next affidavit is by Honorable Diba Brushad Ali, who is the duly elected County Assembly of Isiolo member for Garbatula Ward, who also confirms that there was no sitting. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, and this is important, Shaban Mzungu, whose affidavit appears at page 46, confirms that on the 18th the assembly was locked. On the 26th, the assembly, the members were able to get in the assembly for 10 minutes and walk out. And that is where the substantive question as to whether there were proper recordings. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, this afternoon, I thought that Council for the County Assembly would have responded to the technical issues raised as to whether or not there was a sitting through the law, but unfortunately, Council Mawera fell into the tricks of his submissions by playing two videos that did not have voice recordings and that went, Mr. Speaker, to admitting that there were no proceedings at the Assembly. It's very, very unfortunate that this case has to die. Mr. Speaker, I was prepared to proceed to the substance of the hearing.
Senator Seki.
Honorable Speaker, I also wish to support this motion by saying that the county to this House that there was a sitting in the County Assembly of Isiolo. Honorable Speaker, some years back, I used to work as a clerk in the county councils by then, before devolution. And the county councils, municipalities, councillors respect also the law. And they used to work or even to deliberate in the chamber. The reason why we have the chamber is there is a reason as to why we have the chamber. It is very difficult and it will not be proper for the county assembly to come to this House with an allegation that they had a meeting, the assembly sat, there is no video, no audio to this House, and they believe that we'll agree to them. Honorable Speaker, this is not right. However, we may have so many things against the county assembly or the executive of Isiolo through the governor. After looking at the documentation they've presented, or even before, Honorable Speaker, but the procedure and the law must be upheld. Honorable Speaker, I support this motion by saying that we are not going to give it.
Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine, Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the motion, albeit reluctantly for this reason. This PO had two counts. One is clear in my view, and the other one the one we are discussing currently, unfortunately, we did not get the instance to interrogate all the evidence. But, Mr. Speaker, it is important for us to affirm that at a time when the rule of law seems to be a problem in Kenya, we must be that house that must stand for the rule of law. The rule of law applies to the county assembly as it does to the county executive as it does to the Senate. Procedures are important, and it is important that county assemblies, not just of Isiolo but elsewhere, follow the rules and the standing orders that they lay, that they have put in place to ensure that everything they bring and represent for their people are actually able to be executed in accordance with the procedures. I feel that the first count might have been prosecuted better through interrogation of evidence, but unfortunately, the lawyers for the county assemblies have made no attempt to actually respond to the issue as to whether there was a sitting or not. They simply said there was a sitting, but the little evidence there is shows that there was no sitting. So they have actually not properly assisted in making this decision. But in my view, the real PO is the second motion that we will go to. Mr. Speaker, as a Senate, I think we also need to address ourselves to our own procedures around the PO. We had the issue of the PO in the Kericho matter. We had the issue of a PO in the Kawera matter, the last one. But we ignored it as a Senate. So we need now to determine whether we will work on matters PO selectively or whether we should have rules. And as we have those rules, Mr. Speaker, I would want to state that matters procedures are matters that involve every senator in this House. So we should all be involved in terms of voting on matters relating that are preliminary, because that is about procedures. So to the extent that the county...
Senator Karungo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I rise to contribute to this motion, I beg to start with a question. What defines an assembly sitting? It is the speaker, the mace, the quorum, the notice, the gazette, the prensics, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think going forward, because even the Hansard is part of it, the voting list is part of it, as we go forward, I think this Senate should come up with a resolution that for any other impeachment to go on, the county assemblies should provide video evidence of whether that vote was taken, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, why am I saying that? A few years ago, I was seated at the gallery where I see the good people of Isiolo seated when the governor of Kiambu then was was brought in this house, Mr. Speaker. At that particular time, I knew there were no numbers to remove him from office, but I was over there, Mr. Speaker. And the Senate voted the way it voted, Mr. Speaker. And I swore I want to come to this Senate so that I can do the right thing. Because the strength of justice, Mr. Speaker, is not seen on how we treat innocent people. It's how you handle the guilty one, Mr. Speaker. So we have to follow the processes so that we make sure that even those that are brought here, they go through due process, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this begs the question. If we were to allow the full hearing, that means we will listen to whether the county assembly sat then, we'll have the witnesses, they will be cross-examined, and then instead of voting on that particular issue, we'll be told, wait, let's now go to ground one, let's go to ground two, and let's go to ground three. What if after we go all through these grounds, we realize they never sat? So why are we taking the governor through the grounds, yet probably the county assembly never sat, Mr. Speaker? So I think we should also come up with a proper procedure as a Senate that before we even think of listening to the grounds, we are certain whether for sure the county is sat. Because we have the cases of Machakos, where I think there were 2 clerks. There was a case of Nyamira, 2 clerks, 2 speakers, 2 assemblies. So, Mr. Speaker, we have seen we have rogue assemblies somehow. So if we do not cure that now, we might never be able to cure this in future. And probably we'll be coming here as governors also. So we want the procedures to be followed. So I stand here to say I support the motion so that the Isiolo people, the Isiolo MCAs, can now go look at it, bring it here with the procedure, with everything, and we'll listen to them. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kavindu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And before I contribute, I want to correct the senator for Kiambu that Machakos, we did not have any 2 clerks at any time. Maybe you are referring to another county in Ukambani, but not Machakos. Mr. Speaker, I want to say very clearly that impeachment was meant to be a tool to bring good governance to counties. And Mr. Speaker, if this is the case, if we allow the assemblies to come up with issues without proper process and bring them to this Senate, and we contribute to it, Mr. Speaker, I don't think we'll be doing justice to the counties. And yet we senators are defenders of devolution. I know there are issues in Isiolo, but it is yet to be determined whether there are issues for impeachment. But before that is determined, Mr. Speaker, we want to know if due process was followed, and listening to the county assembly's lawyers, Mr. Speaker, they did not clarify completely or address us completely that there was any sitting on the 18th of June and the 18th of and the 26th of June. And so, Mr. Speaker, I want to say, according to how they represented themselves, there was no sitting at the county assembly. And so this motion, I support it, and I say that we cannot move to the next stage because there was no sitting. We have to follow due process to the latter, even as we impeach the governors. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kenywa.
Asante sana Bwana Spika kunipa fursa hii. Kwanza kabisa swali ambalo napaswa kujiuliza, pingamizi hii ya awali inaletwa kwa nini? Bwana Spika, ni vizuri kwa sababu sisi katika seneti hii na vile vile katika gatuzi zetu wote vile tunapaswa kufanya ni kufuata sheria, kwa sababu ni kinaya, Bwana Spika, ikiwa sisi ndio tunatunga sheria lakini sheria zenyewe hatuzifuati. Ukiangalia katika taarifa rasmi ya bunge ya Isiolo, hakuna kikao chochote, Bwana Spika, kilichofanyika. Kwa hivyo ikiwa hakukuwa na kikao chochote, Bwana Spika, sioni ni kwa nini tunapaswa kuwa tukishughulikia jambo hili. Tunapaswa kuwa tukisema ya kwamba, Bwana Spika, ikiwa kikao hakikuweko, na hapo ndipo ambapo kungekuwa ukishughulikiwa haya mambo, Bwana Spika, katika seneti hii tunapaswa kusema ya kwamba hilo pingamizi la awali tunalikubalia, ndiposa sheria ziweze kufuatwa, Bwana Spika, kwa sababu utaratibu wa sheria usipofuatwa itakuwa hakuna jambo tunalofanya hapa. Nilisikia kiongozi wa wengi na nimesikiza seneta wenzangu, nimemsikiza Faki akisema ya kwamba ati tuendelee kusikiza ushahidi wa kutosha na tunaweza tukapata mambo mengi zaidi. Bwana Spika, ikiwa sheria haikufuatwa kuanzia mwanzo, sioni haja yoyote ya sisi kusikiza kesi hii, kwa sababu, Bwana Spika, wanasema ya kwamba usikate kanzu kabla ya mtoto kuzaliwa. Sisi wenyewe hatuwezi kusikiza. Tunajua ya kwamba katika gatuzi nyingi kuna shida nyingi. Laikipia kuna shida, Nandi kuna shida, vile vile Isiolo kuna shida, lakini hatutatafuta shida bila kufuata utaratibu wa sheria, Bwana Spika. Na ni kinaya kwa sababu sisi ndio tunatunga sheria. Gatuzi hiyo ya Isiolo ndio wanatunga sheria. Ikiwa hatutaweza kufuata kanuni za kudumu ambazo sisi tumeziweka, Bwana Spika, hamna haja ya kuwa tumeketi hapa. Bwana Spika, tunapaswa kuwa tumefunga virago na kwenda nyumbani. Ndio, najua kwamba governor wa Isiolo anaweza kuwa na shida ambazo ako nazo, lakini Bwana Spika, tufuate sheria, na sheria zikifuatwa, sina hofu pangu rohoni ya kwamba watu wa Isiolo na wanataka haki itendwe, lakini sheria ni kama msumeno, inakata mbele na inakata nyuma, Bwana Spika. Kwa hivyo tufuate sheria, na tukifuata sheria ninajua ya kwamba ukweli utapatikana. Lakini kwa leo na hili jambo, pingamizi hii ya awali, naunga mkono Bwana Spika. Hakukuwa na vikao katika gatuzi za Isiolo.
Senator Shakil Abdallah.
Tulisikia